Will, how impressed are you by this Celtics 6-game win streak?
Look, last night you have to give the Celtics credit because they did it without so many of their big guys. No Kyrie, no Hayward, no Horford, and they still come out and they take on Anthony Davis and they get the win. Second time in this streak they did it over the Pelicans. But the truth is, this streak, it's not that impressive. Now, 6 games ago when the Celtics were sitting at 10-10, I did look at this schedule and think, they better go on a run here because this is an cupcake schedule they've got ahead of them. Look at the wins they put together. Antoinette just had them up. All those teams below 500. But you're talking about the Cavs, the Wizards, the Knicks, the Bulls. That was a big blowout win. How impressed can you be when they're winning games they're supposed to be winning? Now, again, I give them credit. Beating the Pelicans. With that lineup last night, that says something. It's starting to show your depth. But the thing we've worried about the Celtics, how's the chemistry? How are these guys fitting together? We don't have answers about that in this win streak, and we're not going to have answers about that until they get through it, which, by the way, they still got, 4 or 5 games left like this on this cupcake schedule. They got the Hawks and the Suns coming up. Until we see them against the Bucks, then we're going to have answers about how is this Celtics team starting to come together.
Well, first of all, I think you're overreacting. And the reason why I think you're overreacting is that even though it wasn't a part of this winning streak, they did beat the Raptors earlier this year when they played them. All right. So they beat them in Boston when Kyrie dropped 43 and Kawhi Leonard put on a show as well. We recognize that. The Toronto Raptors clearly look like the best team in the East. But here's the reason why I would say to you that you're overreacting, because you're looking at their cupcake schedule. The fact of the matter is everybody's damn near a cupcake to them, with the exception of the Toronto Raptors. There's not a single team in the Eastern Conference, and I don't mean cupcake in a literal sense like Milwaukee and Philadelphia are not a team to be reckoned with. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, when the playoffs come, you're not picking one of those teams to beat the Boston Celtics. I mean, you might, you'll just be wrong, but most people ain't picking Boston to lose to one of those teams. They'd pick them to lose potentially to Toronto. So when we look at Boston, it's really not about the competition. It's about them. Gordon Hayward at one point was getting in the way, 25-minute restrictions, compromising the development and growth of a Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Kyrie Irving trying to reingratiate himself into things because he got injured before the playoffs last year. Brad Stevens trying to figure all of this out. You got a size situation right there because you don't necessarily have a rim protector outside of Baines and Horford is relatively undersized. All of those things they got to figure out before they go against Toronto. But that's the only team they really have to worry about.
Yeah, but you're talking about their potential. You're talking about who we think they should be. And by the way, count me in the camp. I said the Boston Celtics would not only win the East, but they would be the only team capable of threatening this Golden State Warriors dynasty. But that's me thinking ahead of the season. That's me projecting. That's me looking at their potential. What you're doing, when Kyrie drops all those points on the Raptors and they beat the Raptors, we're seeing glimpses. That's what we thought you'd be. But then in the meantime, what do we see? They lose to the Knicks. And I love my Dallas Mavericks, but they lose to the Dallas Mavericks. And Luka Doncic is the real deal.
He's the real deal. Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year.
Running away.
There's nothing to talk about. Yeah.
But the Boston Celtics shouldn't be losing to the Mavericks at this stage of Doncic's career. They shouldn't. Steven, come on. They shouldn't. How about the Knicks? You don't like that? How about the Knicks?
Listen, let me tell you what. Well, first of all, I'm not going to sit up there and bloviate about the Knicks, but I like this kid Trier. I think he's got potential. Knox has been showing some signs of potential right there. Porzingis comes back. Only thing I'm interested with the Knicks is being healthy enough to get production from those guys and Porzingis once he comes back so you can attract a free agent. But as it pertains to Boston, let's keep in mind all the things that I talked about, how they have to work through it, because we know what they can do.
They have so much talent. They have a great coach. They're going to get it together.
We know what they can do on paper. We haven't seen this yet. We haven't seen this with Hayward back in the lineup. We haven't seen them hitting on all cylinders.
Number 2 defensively. Toronto, I'm worried about. Nobody else in the East.
Better add up to beat
Nobody else in the East.